I had the idea for this call. I'm just letting the subject matter for each call come to me. And the first phrase that came, or title, was forgiving the men in our lives. But then I balked a little at that title because I have a bit of a problem with that word, forgiving. It implies that somebody has done something wrong, and they need our compassion, they need our forgiveness. And as we know from the vantage point of the universal self, having incarnated into a singular embodiment, there is no right or wrong. These are human constructs that we've overlaid on existence. But really, existence has nothing to do with right or wrong or any other polarity. And so I chose to call it making our peace, or making peace, I guess I said, with the masculine. All any man wants is the embrace of the divine feminine. He wants to be taken up in the arms, you might say, of the divine mother and told, you're okay, you're my child, you've never done anything wrong. That kind of embrace of unconditional love. Often the judgment that they feel, the anger, the rage, the hatred of the female, of course that's just the tip of the iceberg of the process that they're in. And if you go down through the layers of any process, you discover at the end of the day that it is fear-based. So really the amount of rage or violence that is on the surface is equivalent to the amount of rage that is being held in, the amount of fear, the fear of the womb that bore them, the fear of the feminine that's being held in the unconscious. The man, in perpetrating whatever it was that had outplayed in the physical, all he had really been searching for was to touch on the feminine, to have a line to the feminine. Sometimes it's with the heart chakra, someone's heart. The woman's heart is shut down, and it's because there's a man in this life or some other life that still has a line on her that's causing that heart to be closed up. And from his perspective, it's just because if that line is cut, he loses, he believes, his contact with the divine feminine. Why? Because he doesn't recognize that he is the divine feminine, that he is both the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It takes someone who is on a spiritual path and has done quite a lot of work on themselves to recognize that we are both masculine and feminine, and indeed, beyond that, we are the universal self, which is neither masculine nor feminine. In my view, the masculine did nothing wrong. This was a learning experience. It was a very different experience to have a male incarnation than to have a female incarnation. With a male incarnation, you're simply sampling the buffet of existence and learning in the 3D about superiority and entitlement and oppression and control. If that's what's really playing out in the unbalanced masculine and in the feminine, we've just got a whole pink package that we're learning about, but there's no right or wrong here. There's no good or bad. We just sample from the buffet everything. We flip back and forth when the soul needs to into a male incarnation. So that's why it's never appropriate to point a finger, never appropriate to feel like a victim. That's just something being held in our own unconscious that is begging to be reconciled.